Fusion Mobile, quality e-learning experience on the go.
Consequences of obedience. Joseph was rewarded for obeying God's law. According to Genesis 39 from verse 7 to 22, Potiphar's wife Leah seduced Joseph to sleep with her, but Joseph kept refusing. And he said to her, "How can I do this great wickedness and sin against God?" And the woman was so angry that she had to lie against Joseph and told her husband all that had happened. And by then Joseph already ran away from the house and left his cloth, which was torn by Potiphar's wife. And when Potiphar came back, that is Joseph's master, he put him into the prison, a place where the king's prisoners were bound. And he was there in the prison because of what his wife told him that Joseph did to her. But there in the prison, the Lord was with Joseph and showed him mercy and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison, such that the keeper of the prison committed to Joseph's hand all the prisoners that were in the prison, and whatever they did there, he was a doer of it. So Joseph found favor in even there in the prison, because he obeyed God's law. And he obeyed God's law in accordance with the commandment, according to Exodus 20 verse 14, that says, "Thou shalt not commit adultery." David was rewarded for respecting a civil rule. According to 1 Samuel 26 1 to 12, when David and Abishai saw Saul sleeping and his spear stuck in the ground, Abishai said to David, "God has delivered your enemy into your hands today. Allow me to kill him at once." But David said to Abishai, "Don't kill him. Who can stretch his hand against the Lord's anointed and be guiltless? The Lord forbid that I should stretch forth my hands against the Lord's anointed." And that was how David walked away from Saul without killing him. And that was in accordance with Exodus 20 verse 13, which says, "Thou shalt not kill." So David obeyed God's commandments, and definitely he was rewarded for his obedience. The 3 Hebrew youths escaped death for obeying God to avoid idolatry. According to Exodus 20 verse 3, it says, "Thou shalt have no other gods before me." Now, according to Daniel 3 from verse 1 to 30, King Nebuchadnezzar made an image of gold and commanded all to bow down and worship the golden image, and that anyone who fails to do so will be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. All did as the king commanded, except the 3 Hebrew men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They were reported to the king, and even as the king summoned the 3 of them, they still refused, saying that the God whom they serve is able to deliver them from the burning fiery furnace and out of the hands of the king Nebuchadnezzar. And the father said that even if God does not deliver them from the burning fiery furnace, they will still not worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar had made. At this time, King Nebuchadnezzar was now very angry, and he thereby commanded that the burning fiery furnace should be heated 7 times, so that it will be very hot before the 3 men will not be bound and thrown into the fire. They did as the king Nebuchadnezzar commanded and heated the burning fiery furnace 7 times, and it was really very hot. And then they bound the 3 men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and threw them into the burning fiery furnace. But God came into the furnace and was with them, such that they were in the furnace, but they were not burnt. And that was because they obeyed God's law by not having any other God before God the Almighty. Esther obeyed Mordecai. Mordecai sent words to Esther and told her to go unto the king and make a supplication unto him, to make a request before him for her people. But Esther said to them, gave words for Mordecai, saying that Mordecai already knows that anybody who enters the inner court who is not called to see the king, there is one law of his to put him to death. That is, anyone who enters into the inner court without the king requesting for that person will be killed. But Mordecai sent words again to Esther and said, Think not with thyself that thou should escape in the king's house more than all the Jews. So Esther had to go to the king and requested that she should be prayed for, and requested that they should gather all the Jews that are present in Shushan to fast for her, and they should not eat or drink for 3 days, night or day, and that also she and her maidens will fast likewise, so that she will go to the king, which is not according to the law. And even if she should perish, she will perish. Esther obeyed Mordecai.